What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Welcome to Pretty Dece, your daily entertainment and pop culture show. Today on the show, we're going to talk about some video games because Bethesda Softworks has just announced the next game set in the Fallout universe. That game is Fallout 76. This announcement came after a 24-hour live stream where basically it was just a camera pointed at a bobblehead. There were sporadic random things happening throughout. There were thousands and thousands of people watching this stream of literally nothing happening. Just randomly people would walk by, someone would stick their thumb up in the camera, and at the very end, finally, confetti dropped, and this trailer for Fallout 76 dropped. So there was a lot of hoopla in the build-up and release of this particular teaser trailer, but kind of well warranted because Fallout is an incredibly popular series, and tons of people are anticipating, of course, the next entry in the Fallout games. If you know nothing about Fallout, there are a series of video games that are kind of post-apocalyptic. In the world of Fallout, there are these vaults that were built for Americans to go into to survive an apocalypse. Basically, this world war happens, nuclear missiles get launched from all angles, and essentially the entire world gets wiped out. But some humans survive because they were living in these vaults. Now, the vaults also have a slightly nefarious purpose because they were also used for experiments. So each individual vault, they were running weird, different experiments and weird iterations. For example, one vault, they were pumping chemicals into the vault to slowly drive all of the inhabitants mad, and then they wanted to kind of observe the effects on the inhabitants over time. And each of the other Fallout games has explored and focused on inhabitants from these various vaults, and they've let you visit other vaults to kind of get a bit of a history about what happened in each of those particular vaults. So we know about lots of the different vaults and sort of the weird experiments that happened in each of them. This game, as you might expect from the name, focuses on Vault 76. Vault 76 is rather unique because it was serving as a control vault. So there were crazy experiments going on in all the other vaults, and this one was supposed to be the control. Everything's normal, no experiments running. So because of that, what we see in the teaser trailer is a fairly pristine vault. Everything looks like it was a generally happy place to live. There is kind of remnants of a party we see in the teaser trailer. They have a little mini soccer field that they're playing on. There's like celebration and happiness and life. It looks like a place where people had continued on with their various lives, despite the fact that they were living in this vault, which of course is radically different by comparison to the vaults that we know from the other Fallout games. Now, Vault 76 was supposed to open 20 years after it was sealed, so that people could come out and repopulate the Earth, but of course, not everything goes perfectly. We know from a picture in the game, a little snippet, that this game is set in 2102, or at least the portion that we see in the teaser trailer is set there. Now, by comparison, the other Fallout games are set in, the first one, for example, is in 2161, Fallout 3 is set in 2258, and Fallout 4 is set in 2287. So we're looking at over 100 years earlier than the majority of the other Fallout games, the majority of the other happenings that we know about in the world of Fallout. So, as I said, this vault's radically different than the others, and the setting is very early compared to the other games. So I'm really excited to find out from this game what the world looks like, and if these 100+ years that are different really kind of affect what the general atmosphere outside is like, what the inhabitants are like. In the other games, when you make it outside of your vault, society has already started to reform. You see these cities sprout up, you see these entire cultures sprout up, all these gangs and groups and organizations. So I'm assuming at this point, in this early in the timeline, all of that's going to be much more in a nascent phase. Maybe those cities haven't formed, maybe they're just building. Those organizations and groups and stuff haven't quite gotten as established, and you might get to see some of that stuff happen. Sounds very exciting. Now, with the release of this trailer this week, we have some rumors about this game. Of course, initially everyone assumed, hey, this is the new Fallout game. It's going to be like the other Fallout games. Let's get hyped. And one thing that I'm a little worried about is maybe it's not an actual Fallout game. Obviously, in Fallout 4, they added a bunch of new features, and the biggest one was this base building slash kind of inhabitant wrangling settlement creation features. Lots of people loved that stuff, but it wasn't really for me. That's what I'm not looking for in a Fallout game. I want to be the lone survivor who's out exploring the wasteland, not back home putting buildings together and tending crops and so on. I know a lot of people loved it, but again, just not really what I'm looking for. So some people were fearful that like this was more focusing on that stuff, that settlement and base building, and was it going to be a full-featured Fallout game? And from that point, we are getting some anonymous sources that are confirming some of those fears, unfortunately. Polygon has confirmed that this game is going to be a multiplayer game. It's going to be worked on by some of the members of the team that was working on the canceled game Battle Cry. So they brought some of those people over to work on some multiplayer aspects of it. And in a similar fashion, Kotaku is reporting that this gameplay featuring in Fallout 76 here is actually going to be, yes, multiplayer, and an online survival RPG. So think of something more in the vein of Dece and Rust than traditional, Fallout type solo offline questing. Now, there's no reason they can't do both or do a mix of those two things, so it's not sky is falling. I think that this can still be a Fallout game that pleases the diehard Fallout fans who like it to be single player, who like to go on their quests and build their character out, but maybe they can rope in kind of a new audience that are into games like Dece and Rust and those types of online survival experiences that wouldn't normally get into the storyline aspects that Fallout normally brings. But calling this game Fallout 76 and not Fallout 5 does lead you to think that maybe they're trying something radically different. This is an offshoot and not actually the follow-up to the mainline Fallout games that we had initially thought. So a lot of questions surrounding this game, and a lot of people really desperately want the answers. We do know it's coming to PS4 and Xbox One and PC. No Switch version on the horizon, at least at first, which makes a lot of sense. These games are very intensive, involve a lot of horsepower. Maybe the Switch can't perform it, even though the Switch, runs Skyrim pretty well. And we do know we'll find out more about this game at E3 because Bethesda has a press conference scheduled for June 10th. So we will find out the true nature of this game then. In the meantime, we can only speculate and read about the rumors that are going on about Fallout 76. So that's going to do it for Pretty Dece for today. Thank you for joining me to talk about the new Fallout game and jumping into all the possibilities there. If you like the show and you want to see more new episodes of Pretty Dece, premiere weekdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/PrettyDeceShow. You can also check out the daily episodes on the podcast feed or the YouTube channel. You can find that at prettydeceshow.com/video. Finally, you can catch me on Facebook and Twitter at Pretty Dece Show.